All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining me on this program. This is the Fountain of Israel's Bible Studies program. And as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. Now, the title of this lesson is The War Against the Flesh. The War Against the Flesh. Just wanted to get into this particular lesson because I know it's a hard struggle out there for each of us. You know, it's really hard going through this, walking this out. But before I do, I just want to thank everyone who has been hanging in there. I want to thank everyone, each and every one of you guys who have been, donating and CashApp and stuff like that. I don't want it to be ignored. I'm bringing it up because I don't want it to be ignored. And, just check the description box below. But guys, I mean, it's been a great ride. It's been 10 years now. And it's just been one heck of a ride. One heck of a ride. And I just appreciate some of you guys. I know some of you guys are new, you're just coming along. And I know some of you guys have been with me for years. And I do appreciate each and every one of you. Some of you, I actually talk to you on the phone, personally. So it's always great to see you guys, and I appreciate you guys allowing me to come into your home. Appreciate you guys allowing me to come and speak to your family, speak to the men out there, speak to their family out there, and teach them or teach you what thus says the Most High. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into our lesson, ladies and gentlemen. So with that, this is the war against the flesh, the war against the flesh, and we're going to begin this in 2 Corinthians Chapter 2. Now I'll be reading from the scriptures version. So some of these words, some of these things will be a little bit different. I typically read from the King James, but this time I'm just going to read from the scriptures version. So we're going to go 2 Corinthians chapter 10. And I want to read verses 3 and 4, right? And just so you can follow along in your King James, right? So 3 and 4 is this. And it says, 3 it says, and let me see here. That's the first one. I need 2 Corinthians. I'm sorry. Here we go, 2 Corinthians 3 and 4. It says, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not fight according to the flesh. For the weapons we fight with are not fleshly, but mighty in Elohim for overthrowing strongholds. Okay, see what we got to understand. I got a lesson, guys. It's an old lesson. I may have to redo it. Maybe time to redo that one. But I got a lesson, and it's called Satan's self in society, because that's who our enemy is, right? That's what we have to worry about. Okay, if we have some issues, we have some drama, we got something coming to us, typically it's one of those three, unless of course Most High is dealing with you. If he's dealing with you directly, then he can send one of those three after you. But that's really what we're dealing with. Okay, so in this we got to understand, we need to look at us. We need to make sure, well, is this something that, I'm doing? Am I in my own way? Am I being foolish? Am I blocking my blessing? Am I, as they say, am I messing up? Okay, that's really what we're doing. Okay, am I messing up? And I'm messing this thing up? Okay, that's what we got to look at, right? Because the flesh, is weak. Okay, that could be the subtitle, is that the flesh is weak. All right. How many times you've been out there, you've just been struggling, right? You're trying to do good, and then you find yourself doing something maybe you shouldn't do, right? And you're just like, oh, man, it just seems like you can't get that monkey off your back. It seems like you just cannot shake it. Okay, whatever that may be. Okay, pick a sin, whatever it may be, whatever is your vice, whatever is, an issue you're having trouble with, and you shouldn't do it, and then you're doing it again. And then you do it again, or you go good. You're doing good for a little while, and then it happens again. That's where the flesh is weak, right? But we still have to struggle. We have to strive to enter in. Over a while, after we practice a little bit, it gets a little bit better. It gets a little bit easier. We strength, because this is called a walk, not a step. Okay, this is a walk. You're gonna stumble, you're gonna fall, get back up, and keep moving forward. Let me just encourage you, get back up and keep moving forward, because guess who wants you to give up? All right, so we're gonna keep it going. Now we're gonna go to 1 Corinthians, right? Corinthians Aleph, 1 Corinthians. We were just in 2 Corinthians. Now we're gonna go to 1st. Now we're gonna go to 1 Corinthians, and we're gonna go to chapter 9. When we get to 9 of Corinthians Aleph, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, we're going to read 24 to 27. 24. It says, and do you not know that those who run in a race indeed all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way as to obtain. So you're doing this. See, and let me just pause to note. The reason why you're doing this, brothers and sisters, the reason why you're doing this walk, right? Ultimately, in a word, salvation. You want to get salvation, right? But what you're trying to do, you're running this race because you are trying to attain that. You're trying to get access into the kingdom. You're trying to get immortality. You're trying to have fellowship with the Most High and have fellowship with the Messiah and the other saints. You're trying to do that. You're trying to get to that day. You're trying to get to that day where there is no more tears, no more pain, no more sorrow. Okay? No more car note, no more mortgage. Okay? You're trying to get to that day. We're trying to get something. We're trying to attain that. We're trying to attain positions in the kingdom. We're trying to attain that. This is what we're trying to do. So, like it said over here, and do you not know that those who run in a race indeed all run, but one receives the prize? Like, everybody's trying to get it, and we know everyone's not going to make it. Now, a lot are, but we know most are not, right? A lot are going to make it, but most are not. But what it says over in 25, everyone who competes controls himself in every way, right? Now, they do it to receive a corruptible crown, but we for an incorruptible crown, right? So, you have your truth, I have my truth, right? You can't tell, hey, stand back from me, I'm holier than thou, right? They're just too good. You can't really tell them anything, right? Because they know everything, right? So, but it says, and everyone who competes controls himself in every way. Self-control. That's what we're going to talk about, self-control and temperance and things like that. I want to encourage you because it's rough. It is hard. Hey, I still struggle. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I will still struggle. Now, some things are easier for me now because I've been doing it for a little while. But that doesn't mean that there's nothing wrong. Everything's great. I made it. I'm in the I'm not in the kingdom yet, so I still have work to do. Okay, that's just how it is. If it was complete, I wouldn't be here. Okay, so I got to still run this race. We all do. Okay, he says, in 25 again, it says, and everyone who competes controls himself in every way. Control yourself. It said, now they do it to receive a corruptible crown. Meaning it's going to die. It's going to perish. Okay. You're trying to get something that's not going to last. But we for an incorruptible crown, immortality. Okay. The new heaven and new earth and the new Jerusalem. And be in his Father's house, they have many mansions. Okay. That's not just dwelling, but it's offices, things, responsibilities and duties and things like that. Right. We understand that what we want is once we get it, it's forever. That's what we're trying to attain. The incorruptible crown. Once we get it, it is forever. But what it's going to take is a little bit of self-control on our part. It's going to take some self-control. So when we want to do something and we know it's not right, we're going to war against the flesh and resist. 26, therefore I run accordingly, not with uncertainty, right? Thus I fight, not as one who beats the air. It's not for nothing, right? I do this for a purpose. I do this to attain something. It's not for nothing. It's not like I'm just beating the air, okay? I'm not doing this for nothing. That's the same attitude that you need to have, okay? The reason why you're trying to obey and believe in the Mashiach, the reason why you're trying to observe Torah, at least to the best of your ability, to the best of your understanding. You're not doing it for nothing. You're doing it for a reason. You're trying to obtain. Okay? 27. But I treat my body severely and make it my slave. Keep my body in subjection and make it my slave. Lest having proclaimed to others, I myself might be rejected. Lest I... Now, this is Paul, right? This is Paul. That's what y'all got, right? So this guy is still trying to run this race. He's still trying to strive to enter in. He's still trying to please the Most High. Still. And you got people out there telling you don't have to do anything. You don't have to obey. And a little bit of obedience that they want you to have, they want you to do it like according to like your feelings. Because they say, oh, well, you know, there's Christ commandments and stuff like that, right? And I said, well, can you list them off? Okay? And then they'll do some of the, you know, well, you know, turn the other cheek, you know, just the stuff, basically the things they feel like doing. I'm telling you, do not listen to these butter muffins. Do not do it. Just don't do it, because these moose knuckles will have you cut off. I'm telling you that right now. They will have you cut off, because you don't have to strive there and there. You don't have to keep your body into subjection. You just do whatever you want to do. He said, look what he says. But I treat my body severely and make it my slave. Now, how hard is it to keep doing what the heck you've been wanting to do? How hard is it to do that? Just keep on doing, keep doing what you're doing before, because that's what these other guys, that's what they tell you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to keep no law. Well, the new covenant, and then you have them read it to you, and what pops up? Oh, the law. I was having a conversation the other day on the phone. Same thing. Oh, we're on the new covenant. I'm like, okay, so let's read it. Jeremiah 31. Let's read it. Oh, it's also in in Hebrews 8:8. Let's take a look at it. It says the same thing. And it says, here's the covenant I'm gonna make with Israel and Judah, which my covenant they break or whatever, but not according to the old covenant that I made, but according to but a new covenant. What was the old covenant? Okay, the law, table stones, ratified by the blood of the Lamb. Right? What's the new covenant? He said, I'm gonna put it in their inward parts and in their mind. I'm gonna put my law in their inward parts and in their mind. Okay, we're in a new covenant. So again, what do we have? We have the law, because he's going to put it on the tablets of their heart and in their mind instead of the tablets of stone. And it's going to be the law. So the law, tablets, actual tablets, and then the tablets of your heart and your mind. Ratified by the blood of the Lamb. New one, ratified by the blood of the Lamb. Where John saw Mashiach coming and he said, behold, the Lamb of God. So what exactly did change? Except for where the law is placed. Right? Where it is placed. But I'm telling you right now, you're going to get in front of some butter muffin is going to get in front of you and tell you you don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything. And you tell me, well, what do I have to do? It's going to be some easy believism, right? Just believe what, because think about it. If, because they say, oh, well, we're Gentiles and all that. Okay, that's a whole nother lesson. Okay. But if before you came to the Bible, you were sinning, right? You were sinning. Okay. You were breaking all the laws, whatever, and you may have been ignorant of it, right? Okay. It happens to all of us, right? Then you come to the Bible and then it shows you what sin is. And then all in the same breath, they say, well, you don't got to worry about it. Jesus came, he paid it all, stuff like that. So what exactly do you need to do different? Besides believe on Jesus. Besides that, what do you have to do? If before you were stealing and eating pork and, just doing all kinds of crazy, wicked stuff that you can see in the Bible was clearly bad, right? You didn't know. Then someone tells you what those laws are, right? These are the laws that you're breaking. You shouldn't do that. I mean, well, according to, Old Testament, you shouldn't be doing that. And then Christian come along, right? Sunday Christian come along and tell you, well, you don't have to do it under the new covenant or whatever. Okay, so what exactly did you do different besides just believing? That's why I say easy believing. You just believe. I believe Jesus paid it all. I believe he died for me. Okay, so you can just go do it. You can just go do the stuff. You can keep stealing, right? You can keep committing adultery. That's cool. You can just keep it. You can keep bearing false witness on people. Just lie on them. Just lie. You can still. You can do an Amber Heard on somebody. You can do that. That okay? That's fine. Okay, you could just keep doing all this stuff. Now you don't. So what exactly did you do? What? But then Paul is saying, I gotta keep my body in subjection. I treat my body severely and make it my slave. Then he said, lest having proclaimed to others, I myself might be rejected. I might be a castaway. I might be rejected. I may not get in. Like if I don't control myself, I may not get in. That's what someone who's a teacher or something, right? I'm in front of the podium. I'm teaching you, right? if I go out there and do all manner of wickedness, and you listen to me, you may get in. If I'm teaching you what thus says the Lord, right? You may get in. But if I don't keep my body in subjection, I may not. I may not make it. It's just that simple, and that is what Paul is talking about, right? So we're going to go ahead and continue, right? Let's go to Romans, all right? Or Romium. Okay, and we want to go to chapter 8. Okay, chapter 8, and we're going to read 5 through 8. Chapter 8, 5 through 8. Now, what does it say over here? It says, for those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the matters of the flesh. For those who live according to the Spirit, the matters of the Spirit. For the mind of the flesh is death, but the mind of the Spirit is life and peace. Because the mind of the flesh is enmity towards Elohim, for it does not subject itself to the Torah of Elohim, neither indeed is it able. And those who are in the flesh are unable to please him. So again, if you focus on the thing on the things that pleases this world, the things that pleases your flesh, pleases this world, pleases your neighbor, those kind of things, without regard to whether or not you're doing according to the Most High, because the only one you're supposed to impress is Mashiach, right? So if you have him, if you have his pardon, okay, you're good. You're golden with the Father. You good with the Son. If you're good with the Messiah, you're good with the Father. Don't worry about it, okay? Because he's your advocate to the Father, okay? So you good there, okay? But do you disregard his Torah? That's the question. Do you disregard his Torah? Because that's what's important, right? So that's what it's saying over here, okay? And it says, let's look at that. It says, for those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the matters of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit, the matters of the Spirit. For the mind of the flesh is death. These carnal things. You want to get away from Torah. You want to get away from the Elohim. You want to get away from the Messiah. You want to get away from these things. You want to focus on whatever it is you want to focus on that profits you nothing. You want to do that? Okay, cool. Because that's death. Meaning that's going to come to an end anyway. It's nothing to it but just vexation. Okay, that's going to come to an end anyway. It says death, but the mind of the Spirit is life and peace. And he's talking about that everlasting life, because the mind of the flesh is enmity towards God. It is a barrier. It is against. If you think fleshly, right? You can say like an atheist or something. Okay, it's enmity towards God. Okay, that's an example right there. It cannot please. Now, obviously, you can't make that argument with an atheist. They don't believe the Bible. But I'm just saying between you and I, while no atheist is looking right now, between you and I, right? That's an example. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some in the faith, and they're enmity against God too, because they went about to establish their own righteousness. Okay, which means they're not really in the faith, but they think they're in the faith. And if you go about establishing your own righteousness, then you're not really in the faith. Okay, so. And that's what some people do, okay? And it says, because the mind of flesh is enmity towards God, for it does not subject itself to the Torah of Elohim. They don't subject themselves to the law. Don't subject themselves to the Torah. Torah means instruction. They do not subject themselves to instruction. Neither indeed is it able. They cannot. They cannot, okay? We know the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, but if I just stick to the Decalogue, I just the 10, okay? They just can't. Think about it. You have no other gods before me. Oh, all roads lead to God, okay? That's that universal stuff, right? This is Catholicism, right? All roads lead to God and all that. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But people believe that, right? You don't take his name in vain, which we got a whole lesson on that, okay? It's not, how do you say his name and all that, okay? But still, some people are sticklers on that or whatever. That's fine. That's fine. But I digress. Your behavior, you call yourself Israel, Messianic Hebrew. You call yourself these things. Do you act, think, teach, live like that? Do you? I'm just saying practically. I'm not saying just be dogmatic about it. I'm just saying practically, do you do it? Can you? Right? Okay. Don't make any idols. know any people who supposed to be a part of this biblical, just believing in the Bible and stuff, and they just worship these idols and stuff like that? Enmity against God, neither can it be. You tell them, hey, don't do this. This is not his birthday. Don't celebrate this. He has nothing to do with dyed eggs and all that. And these brother muffins will rebuke you. Enmity against God. Honor thy father and mother. Remember the Sabbath day. Sabbath day's been moved. Honor the father and mother. I don't want to skip over that, but hey, bunch of broken homes. So they got a whole lot of angst and hate against it, particularly against the father, but you got a whole lot of angst and hate against the parents and stuff like that. So, I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Seriously. So, let's look at our next, let's see where we are. Romans, let's go to Matthew 26. Matthew 26. Okay, Matthew 26, and I'm going to start over at 38. Matthew 26, and I'm going to start over at 38. Where are we? 38. Here we are. 38. He said, and then he said unto them, my being is exceedingly grieved, even to death. Stay here and watch with me. And going forward a little, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not as I desire, but as you desire. And he came to the taught ones and found them asleep and said to Kepha, so were you not able to watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest ye enter into trial. The spirit indeed is eager, but the flesh is weak. The spirit indeed is eager, but the flesh is weak. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So we see just for a little bit, the Messiah was, getting a little weak. Said, let this cup, if we can do it any other way, let's do that. But it's not according to my will, but your will. Okay, a little bit of, because he knew what was about to happen, right? And then he noticed that the taught ones or the disciples were like, falling asleep. It was probably getting late, and they're just kind of dozing off a little bit or whatever. And he's like, you can't stay awake for an hour? I'm about to die for you. I'm about to die for you, butter muffins, and the rest of Israel too. And you can't stay up with me 1 hour just to pray, that kind of thing, because he knew what was about to happen to the next. So it's a heavy burden. How about dying for nations, right? How about dying for people and you're innocent? What do you think? Right? Kind of a big deal, right? In a heinous way too. By bleeding out and suffocation, when you're crucified, and slow death. Up there, nails in in your hands and feet, and crown of thorns, and you get beaten with a cat o' nine tails and just ripping flesh off of you, and you're just bleeding, and then you're suffocating, and you're dehydrated, and you're sitting up there in the sun and all that. Why do you think you just want a little bit of water or something? Yeah, I'd be a little scared too. Yeah. Flesh is weak. You're going to be like, I don't know if I want to do this. Flesh is indeed weak. So I know the Messiah went through that and had those moments of doubt, and I'm not implying that he sinned, because he didn't. I'm not implying that. But I'm just saying, if he went through something and he was just like, ugh, then he knows what you're going through. He understands what you're going through. That's how he's the perfect advocate. Perfect advocate, because he knows exactly what you're going through. Both of us, right? All of us, collectively. Right? Let's go, Israel. So, I am Matthew 26. So, we're going to go Romans 7. Ramayim 7. Okay. Ramayim 7. There we go. Chapter 7. And when I get to 7, I'm going to read 5 and 6. I'm going to jump around a little bit. Okay, 5, it says this. For when we were in the flesh, the passions of sin through the Torah were working in our members to bear fruit to death, right? So what we were doing, it earned death, right? When we were doing our thing, doing what we want to do, just kind of doing our thing, the wages of sin is death, right? So we have what's coming to us, right? So we did 5, here's 6. But now we have been released from the Torah, or you say in your book, it said the law, right? But he's talking about 2 different laws. We're going to get that. Having died to what we were held by, so that we should serve in newness of spirit and not the oldness of letter, right? We're going to get to that, though. Don't worry. Because, a lot of, there's a lot of butter muffins out there who think that, oh, we got you. See, we're dead to the law. Okay, let's see which one he's talking about. All right. So what did he say in verse 7? He said, what then shall we say? Is the Torah sin? Let it not be. No, the Torah's not sin. No, Torah's not sin. However, I did not know sin except through the Torah, for also the covetousness I knew not if the Torah had not said, you shall not covet, right? So that's what he says. I didn't know the law until the law said, you shall not covet, or thou shalt not covet, right? Now watch this. I'm going to drop down to 12 real quick. Let's go to 12. It says this. So that the Torah truly is set apart, and the commandments set apart, and righteous and good, or in your book it'll say holy, right? So it says, so that the Torah is truly set apart, and the command set apart, and righteous and good. Now, the reason why I repeated that is because I want you guys to think about that. That part gets skipped over, right? So ultimately, Paul is saying that the Torah is good, right? Ultimately, it's good. It's holy, just, and good, right? Okay, so I want you guys to zero in on that. Now, don't let that part go, right? So let's read 13. Therefore, has that which is good become death to me? Let it not be. So should I have nothing to do with the Torah now? Should I have nothing to do with it? Is that gone? Is it gone? Let it not be. Nope. But the sin, that sin might be manifest, was working death in me through what is good, so that sin through the command might become an exceedingly great sinner, right? So you can recognize what sin is. Like before you knew what Torah was, right? You didn't know how severe your sin was, right? You didn't know what am I breaking? What law am I breaking, right? Now, some of the obvious ones, we kind of have an idea. We shouldn't steal and, so on and so forth. But some of the ones that are a little less obvious, we once we realize, we're like, and that's what Paul meant was saying, once I found out, I died. Like, oh man, I didn't know that was wrong, right? That kind of thing. So we're gonna keep it going. All right. In 14, he said, for we know that the Torah is spiritual, but I am fleshly, sold under sin, meaning those penalties, sold under the sin, right? My body is committed to sin, living a sinful life, right? I'm sold under sin, right? And the Torah and the penalty thereof. 15, for what I work, I know not. Like what I should do, I don't know. For what I wish, that I do not practice. Like what I want to do, I don't do it. But what I hate, that I do. Understand? What I hate, that I do. That's why this is a war against the flesh. But if I do what I do not wish, I agree with the Torah that it is good, right? But if I do what I do not wish, I agree with the Torah that it is good, right? So, and now it is no longer I that work it, but the sin dwelling in me, right? Because now that you know better, you're conscious of your sin. Now you know better. Now you realize, okay, this is not right. And then you find yourself doing it, right? Like say your early stages of your walk, okay? Then you say, oh, it's not really me, it's a sin, right? It's that, okay? But not to separate yourself and say, oh, well, I didn't do it, the devil made me do it. That's not the excuse. I'm not implying that, okay? I'm not implying that. I'm just saying you start to realize you're more cognizant of the sin, right? That's what we're saying. So it says, he said, and now it is no longer I that work it, but the sin dwelling in me, because it has caught hold. We've been making a practice of sin so long, it becomes second nature. 18, for I know that in me, that is in my flesh dwells no good, right? Been doing it for so long. For to wish is present with me, but to work the good I do not find, right? Oh, I want to mentally, I want good. I want to do this Torah, but I keep falling short. But to do it, I cannot find, right? He says, for the good that I wish to do, I do not do. But the evil I do not wish to do, this I practice. I keep messing up. I keep doing this other stuff I should not do, right? I keep doing it. I shouldn't do it, but I keep doing it because he's saying the sin has taken hold, right? It's in control. Your body, you have not placed your body into subjection, right? Because it's so easy, made a whole practice of the sin, right? So let's keep looking at it. Let's keep on going. And it says in 20, and if I do that which I do not wish, it is no longer I who work it, but the sin dwelling in me. This is what he's talking about, right? Now, let's see. Two different laws that he's talking about. I find therefore this law, right? He didn't say Torah in this one. He said this law, that when I wish to do good, that the evil is present with me. Okay, when I do this law of sin, right? When I do that, right? Because it has taken hold. For I delight in the Torah of Elohim according to the inward man, your spiritual being, your spiritual man, right? On the inside. But I see another Torah, another law in my members, battling against the Torah of my mind. Okay, two different laws. And bringing me into captivity to the Torah of sin, to the law of sin, which is in my members. He's talking about two different laws, right? Wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from this body of death, this body of sin? Who's going to deliver me? Thanks to Elohim through Yeshua Mashiach, our master. So then, with the mind, I myself truly serve the Torah of Elohim, but with the flesh, the Torah of sin. Okay? So that's two different, okay? Torah of the Most High, or this Torah of sin, or this law of sin. Once it has taken hold, the reason why you and I, we can easily make a practice of it. The reason why, because it's taken hold. It's the law. We're going according to that law. So you're either going with the Torah or you're going against the Torah. You're going with your flesh or you're going against your flesh. It is your choice. I just want to make it black and white for you. Because that's what we're working with. That's what we're talking about. We're going to go with it or we're going to fight against it. Because this whole walk is a matter of striving to enter in. And are you striving? Are you doing it? Because it's, and let me tell you, it's going to be tough. Let me tell you, it is hard. It is very, very difficult. Very difficult. You know how many people call me just on the dietary, just on the pork? They like, oh, Brother Robert, Maury Reed, teacher, hey, this, man, are you sure we can't have bacon? Are you sure? You can get beef bacon, but but I digress. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't have bacon, man. I'm pretty sure. Are you sure? No pork chops. That's still pork. No ham. We're still talking about pork. Bacon. Man, pork loin. Yeah, brother. If it's coming off a pig, you can't have it. Okay, it's that simple. Man, I can't have my sausage. Did you know that almost all the breakfast sausages is pork? So yeah, I know. Very few alternatives, but yeah, I know. See, just that alone, just the dietary law. They're warring against the flesh. The struggle is real. Just the dietary law, and they're struggling against the flesh. They're trying. Now, some of you out there, that's no big deal. But for others, that's a struggle. The war against the flesh. The war against the flesh. Let's go to Proverbs 24 and 9. Proverbs 24. All right. So we're going to get to Proverbs. Okay. And once we are there, we're going to go to chapter 24, verse 9. The purpose of folly is sin, and a scoffer is an abomination to men. The purpose of folly is sin, and a scoffer is an abomination to men. Some people, you can't tell them anything. Because a lot of it can't get past their cognitive dissonance. It just can't. You cannot penetrate. Because they're being foolish. They're being carnal minded. I had to go a little bit, it wasn't a debate. And the young man, we're on the phone. The young man, actually a person is a member of the ministry and happened to be female, and a member of the ministry. And she just said, hey, Pastor, could you help me with this? Someone is on the other line, and he was saying that, we can eat pork. So he doesn't, so he didn't believe in the dietary law, stuff like that. He think because that's done away with, that kind of thing. Do you have time? I was sent a text message first, so I did have time. So we got on the phone, and I'll try to give you the truncated version of it. Let me just summarize. The Clip Note version kind of goes like this. I get on the phone and say, hey, how you doing? Got his name. And I said, okay, but where are you reading, that it's okay that we could just eat anything? So he takes us to like Mark, and he goes to where the Messiah was talking about all meats being purified, right? And I said, okay, well, let's go up just a couple of verses or whatever. And it's the part where he's talking about where the Pharisees go to the Messiah and say, hey, why do your disciples eat with unwashed hands? And of course, I'm paraphrasing, but the Messiah said that basically, basically why you making a big deal out of that? Because don't you know that, eating with one unwashed hands isn't that big a deal, because basically the germs, because we're talking about germs, the germs going to go into the body, get into the digestive system, go through the intestinal tract and be eliminated, right? That kind of thing. So he kind of goes through that. I said, so brother, he's talking about germs. Yeah, but he said all meats or whatever. I said, okay, first of all, we're talking about Israelites, and didn't they observe the dietary law? Yeah, because they were Jews. Because I said, okay, I understand. So even if he was even if he said the word meats, do you think unclean meats were in front of him? There were no unclean meats in front of him, right? According to their customs, right? And then all his disciples are there with him. He said, yes. I said, okay, so why in Acts 10, when we know it's just a vision, talking about the Gentiles are, that they're good to go, we can talk to the Gentiles and all that, but why did Peter's response in the vision, why his response was, I've never put anything common or unclean on my lips, right? Never eaten anything, which suggests that he observes the dietary law, correct? Yes, okay. And then he says, okay, yeah, but we're the Gentiles. We're the Gentiles, and so we don't have to do that. And just another law is different and all that. I said, okay, but what happened to one faith, one baptism, one God? Okay, what happened to that? Right? Because obviously it's a New Testament kind of guy, New Testament Christian. I said, so what happened to that? Well, but the Gentiles. I said, okay, so the Gentiles can do what they want, but the Israelite cannot. So just doesn't make sense. It was just some inconsistency. So he takes me, he goes, okay, well, read Romans 2, go to 17, read 17, 29, read all that. So I read all that. And then I said, okay. Well, it looks like Paul here, look at what he's saying. He says, okay, so if you're supposed to be, a person of the law, and you telling other people not to steal, do you steal? And you're supposed to be a person of the law, and you're telling people not to commit adultery, do you commit adultery? You tell people not to worship idols, do you commit sacrilege, right? So just read that part, Romans 2, 17 down to 29, right? Read all that. I said, well, it sounds like he's saying for you not to be a hypocrite. He's not saying don't do the law. No, brother, no, that's what it's saying. That's what it's saying. I said, okay, really? So let's go to Romans 2:13, just a couple of verses right before 2:17, right? He says, okay. I said, well, go ahead, could you read that out loud? We're on the phone. Why don't you read that out loud? So he's fumbling around a little bit. And I said, sir, could you read that out loud? because it says, for the hearers of the law shall not be justified before Yah, but the doers of the law. I said, okay, so what about that right there? Oh, brother, you taking it out of context. I'm like, how am I taking it out of context? I'm in the same book you brought me to. In fact, I'm in the same chapter you brought me to. You brought me to chapter 2. We're reading chapter 2, and it's only 4 verses. It's 4 verses before that. How am I taking it out of context? In fact, it goes with what you gave me. It goes with it. So that is an example of cognitive dissonance, and it kept going, guys. It kept going. But that is an example of cognitive dissonance. I said, so while we're in here, why don't we go to Romans, 3:31? Okay. Do we make void, make void the law through grace? God forbid, we establish the law and all that, right? So I said, okay, so again, in 2 places, we're supposed to keep the law. And again, his cognitive dissonance kicked in. Oh, well, but you just, that's just not what, it's just new and all. I said, okay. One last thing. I said, you like the New Testament, but let me ask you, so has every prophecy in the Old Testament been fulfilled? Has every prophecy in the Old Testament? He goes, no. I said, I agree with you. You're right. Not every prophecy in the Old Testament has been fulfilled. I said, okay, great. Let's go to Isaiah 66. Some of you guys are already there, right? So he's going to come with, so it says here, he reads it, and he says, okay, and the Lord's going to come, flame of fury and wrath and all that other stuff, right? I said, okay, has this happened yet? He says, no. I said, okay, great. Now keep on reading. And this is about 66 and 15 and 16. Read 15, 16, we go to 17. I said, okay, continue reading. And he says, those who hide themselves behind the monument, behind the brick in the garden, eating swine's flesh, right? So I said, wait a minute. Okay, so we both agree this hasn't happened yet. So why is it that when he comes back, the first people on his lips are those who eat pork? Stunned silence. There's a little bit more to it, but I will just simply end it there. Okay, so we get back into our lesson. But you see the differences. And a scoffer is an abomination unto men. So how much time do you think I would spend on someone like that, right? When I showed, now the seed has been planted, and should he go before his maker, he is without excuse. And remember that they call me. Okay, they call me. So I brothers and sisters, I don't get it. But on the other hand, I do get it. Because of Proverbs 24 and 9. Because of Proverbs 24 and 9. The purpose of folly is sin, and a scoffer is an abomination to men. Job 31. Okay, let's go to Job 31. Here we go, Job. All right, Job 31. Let's see, 31. Now we're here over in Job, only 31, and I'm going to start in verse 1. I'm going to jump around a little bit. Okay, 31. Verse 1, it says what? I have made a covenant with my eyes. How then could I gaze at a maiden, right? Like, how am I gaze at a woman, right? Okay, so we're going to drop down to 9. And 9 says, if my heart has been enticed by a woman, or if I have lurked at my neighbor's door, right? Neighbor's wife, right? Okay, so it says, so if my heart have been enticed by a woman, or if I have lurked at my neighbor's door, right? We know that's a sin. Thou shalt not commit adultery. So you should not be looking at another man's wife. You should not be, another man's wife's, in her face, things like that, right? Because of enticement, right? So I'm going to drop all the way to 24. We're going to read 24 to 28. Look at what it says here. It says here, and if I have put my trust in gold, or call fine gold my refuge, that's his safety, right? Because, you have a little bit of money. Now you feel safe, like nothing can touch you, right? Okay, and if I have rejoiced because my wealth was great and because my hand had gained much, if I have looked at the sun when it shines or the moon moving in brightness, so that my heart has been secretly enticed and my mouth has kissed my hand, like you thinking yourself, right? To that is a punishable crookedness, for I would have denied El above, right? Because you think you did it. You think it's because of you. You think you did it. You're the man. You did it all, right? It's all on you. You did all this in your own power. You're a self-made man, right? You did all that. So you forget. So he's saying, unless I do all that, I'm going to think it's me. And I know it's the Most High. I know it's El. Okay? I know it's El. But some people lose their way, brothers and sisters. Some people lose their way. They think it's all them. They think they don't even need help from the Most High. Let's go on back up to the New Testament. Matthew, right? Matthew, we're going to go to 5 and 17. Matthew chapter 5, we're going to start at 17, and we're going to read a little bit of it. 17. Okay, 17, what does it say? Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. For truly I say to you, till the heaven and the earth pass away, one yod or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done. Is all done? When you step outside your door, is the heaven still there? Is the sun still there, right? He kind of gave an example. He comes completed because he came to do what he had to do to become a sinless, spotless sacrifice. Remember the whole Lamb of God thing? Now, I know that they're under the impression, and I know they've been given this bill of goods that he did it so you don't have to, but it doesn't say that. He did it so you don't have to suffer the penalties. He freed you from your penalties. Oh, well, it is blotted out. Yeah, I blotted out thy transgressions like a dark cloud. He didn't say I blotted out my Torah. Didn't say that. Right? But okay. Okay, no problem. So we did, what is that? 18. Let's go 19. And whoever then breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men so shall be called least in the reign of the heavens. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the reign of the heavens. Well, we got to see, well, what does the least mean, right? All we have to do is keep reading it and we'll know what the least. He says, some will be great, some will be least, right? But let's just see. Okay. 20. For I say unto you that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall by no means enter into the reign of the heavens. You shall not. By no means. That's a least. You don't get in, that's a least, isn't it? Right? They don't like reading that part. They don't like to mess with that part right there. Okay, 21. And you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not murder. And whosoever murders shall be liable to judgment, right? But I say unto you that whosoever is wroth with his brother without a cause shall be liable to judgment. And whosoever says to his brother, Raha, shall be liable to the Sanhedrin. But whosoever says, you fool, shall be liable to fire of Gehenna. Right? So did he says that you don't have to do it? Or did he says not till heaven till earth? Because he's still teaching it, right? He's still saying, okay, thou shalt not. You said there should be no murder. Well, you don't even be mad at your brother without a cause. He come to magnify not like he didn't change, he just magnified it. Okay? Brothers and sisters, we warn against the flesh is tough. These are things that we're instructed to do, and it is tough for us to keep it. Let's drop down to 27. 27 says, you have heard this, that it was said to those of old, you shall not commit adultery. But I say unto you that everyone looking at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. What was Job talking about? What was Job talking about? Now, the proper understanding of it is not just any old woman, right? We're talking about betrothed, married women. So you don't want to be looking at women with lust in your heart because you don't know if that woman's married, right? Now, If she's single, that's a little bit different. But before you rush to judgment, then let me ask you, did you find your wife attractive when she was single? So when you lusted after her and she was single, and that's okay, doesn't the same rule apply to single women? Right, because she's not betrothed to someone and she isn't married to someone. The problem is we don't know that. So at the outset, don't lust after a woman. Don't lust after any woman. You don't know her status. Right? Look at what Job was saying. I've been in covenant with my eyes not to look at a woman like that, not to be at my neighbor's door. Right? So this kind of goes right along with that. Right? So what I'm trying to illustrate and demonstrate, because I'm going to have people in the comment section. All lust is not evil. It just means desire. Now, it is evil if you desire your neighbor's wife, if you desire a married woman. You're a single guy, meet a young lady, she's single, it's fine. You can desire each other, okay? It's fine. And the problem is, gentlemen, you lust after a married woman, that's a problem, that's a sin, that's hellfire. So, that's why at the outset, you don't deal. You meet a woman, you ask her, hey, are you married? She says, yes. Okay, now it's time to keep it pushing. It's not time for you to figure out, war against the flesh, it's not time for you to figure out a way to get her to leave her husband. It's not time for you to figure out a way to get her out of her situation. All it's time to do is for you to keep it pushing. That's what you keep it pushing. That's all it is. War against the flesh. The flesh is weak. You're looking at her and you're just like, man, maybe you feel bad for her. She tells you the sob story, the situation, stuff like that. Don't commit adultery. Gentlemen, don't commit adultery. If she's married, keep it pushing. Otherwise, I hope it's worth hellfire. I hope what she has is hellfire, because there's going to be some butter muffins. Can you believe there's going to be some butter muffins out there that's going to be in hellfire just because of their desire of a woman? Let's keep it going. With Matthew, let's go to 16. Let's go up to 16. They're going to do it. Someone's going to do it. Somebody is going to go to the flame for a female. Yeah. Okay, so Matthew 16, we're going to read 21 to 24. 21 says this. From that time, Yeshua began to show to his taught ones that it was necessary for him to go to Jerusalem and to suffer much from the elders and the chief priests and the scribes and be killed, and to be raised again the third day. And Kepha took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, "Be kind to yourself, master. This shall not be to you." Right? So he's trying to be nice, right? But he turned and said to Kepha, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. For your thoughts are not those of Elohim, but those of men." Remember what we read earlier. You see? Not my will, but your will. Right? Then Yeshua said to his taught ones, "If anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake and follow me." Are you guys getting it? And follow me. See, at some point, we got to get it down in our spirit that this is not all about us. This is not all about us. If we focus on those things that the Most High focuses on, that the Most High wants us to focus on, that He wants us to focus, where Paul would say, fix your mind. What he said, think on these things. strive to enter in. When he says those, when he's saying these things to us, so some people, they're just so, they're just mentally, their focus is somewhere else other than where it should be, other than on the Most High. And that's what I don't get. I don't understand that. But they think they got it figured out. They think they're going to be able to finesse their way into it. Not going to be able to do it. You're going to have to come with sincerity of heart. You're going to have to come broken. You're going to have to come as a little child. If you messed up, you're going to have to come bent wrist. Like, I messed up. Forgive me, I messed up. Don't make any excuses. Don't justify. None of that. I messed up, and that's just, I messed up. I deserve death and hell. I don't deserve your mercy and forgiveness. But I pray for it. But I pray for it. I pray that you grant me this mercy. I pray that you do forgive me. You know, that kind of thing. Those are the things that we have to remember, right? Not like, I digress. Let's just keep it going. Let's just keep it going. Okay? We just gonna keep it going. All right, so let's see here. We're gonna go to first. Okay, we got Galatians, we got Timothy. Let's go over here. This should be Timothy, and it's going to be first Timotheos Aleph, Timothy 6, 1 Timothy 6. And let's go 11 to 14. Okay, Timothy 6, 11 to 14. 6 says this, but reverence with contentment is great gain. For we brought not into the world, and it is impossible to take any out, right? We came in here naked, we're going to die the same way. When we have food and covering, we shall be satisfied with these. But those wishing to be rich fall into trials and a snare, and into many foolish and injurious lusts, which plunge men in ruin and destruction. For the love of silver is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some, by longing for it, have strayed from the belief and pierced themselves through with many pains. But you, O man of Elohim, free from all this, and pursue righteousness, reverence, belief, love, endurance, meekness. Fight the good fight of belief. Lay hold on everlasting life, to which you were also called and have confessed the good confession before many witnesses. In the sight of Elohim, who gives life to all, and of Messiah Yeshua, who witnessed the good confession before Pontius Pilate, I charge you, that you guard the command spotlessly, blamelessly, until the appearing of our Master Yeshua HaMashiach. For how long? For how long did you obey the command? For how long? Until Messiah come back. All right, let's go to our last two places. Let's go to our last two places. Try to make it as simple as possible, brothers and sisters. As simple as possible. Job 17. We'll go 17. We're going to read verse 9. It says, and the righteous holds to his way, and he who has clean hands becomes stronger and stronger, because it can get, over time, it'll get easier. Over time, the more you conquer this particular sin, whatever it is that has you, that trips you up, that is your stumbling block, right? Whatever's a stumbling block, when you overcome it over and over, after a while, it gets a little bit easier. Might not be after the third time or the fourth time, might be after the 20th, might be after the 50th. But it gets easier and easier to resist that. Because you get, as it said in Joel, you get stronger and stronger when you guard your way. When you control yourself. Restraint. Because that's what it's going to take, brothers and sisters. To walk in this world, to walk it righteously, it's going to take a lot of strength. It's going to take a lot of strength. But let's look at our last one, right? Revelation 2, okay, or Hazan 2, and I'm going to read 25 and 26. 25 says this: "But hold fast what you have until I come." Oh, it sounds just like what we just read, right? Until Messiah comes, right? "Hold fast to what you have until I come. And he who overcomes and guards my works until the end," what is he going to do? "To him I shall give authority over the nations." You will have power. You will have the authority over the nations. You will be one of the immortals. Access into the kingdom. You see the difference? No more sickness, no more tears, no more sorrow, no more pain, no more death. Be an immortal. And an answer to all of your questions, because the Messiah will be there and the Father. Don't you want to know? Yeah, curious minds want to know, right? Brothers and sisters, this is the war against the flesh, because the flesh is weak. But you can overcome. Yeshua HaMashiach has made a way for you and I to overcome, which is believing in him and walking in righteousness. I hope in this lesson someone has been edified. And if so, until next time, search the scriptures and prove all things. Shalom, Israel.